Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Bikini and the Brain.
Da da da!
Da-da-da.
That's our music.
Still, we're working on it, guys. So today's topic, I think we should go over a very common thing I see is unsupportive people within your life that are kind of spreading some negativity, getting you down about your new passion or even your new body. So if you've made a transformation and you're looking lean and mean now, and some people are just hating or unsupportive.
Yeah, especially throughout the entire prep process. And I've been on both sides of the fence with that too. And you have too, actually, been on both sides of the fence with that as a competitor and then as like the boyfriend, girlfriend, doing it too. So, but it's really weird to me. Like, I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't get why people will do that. But you'll see the scenarios where a girl, she maybe lost 30, 40 pounds. She's feeling really confident. She's with the same guy, and that guy's just super like unsupportive of her and her new body and her new leggings and her new crop tops and her new whatever.
Maybe some more attention she's getting too.
Yeah, and then you also hear about it where it's just where people are just like, why are you doing that? Why are you eating that?
Mostly friends, right?
Yeah.
Because they're wondering why you can't go out on the weekends with them anymore.
And, especially the people that are like, you need another burger. Like, eat a burger or something.
Eat a burger.
Ashley gets that all the time.
Oh, God, eat a burger. They act like it's the most original joke. Like, I haven't heard that so many times before. And also, the family members, mostly moms and dads, that are like, I guess, slightly concerned, although they shouldn't be, but slightly concerned that you're not eating enough, which you are, and, obviously, you can't join them for the dinners all the time, out to eat and stuff like that if you're close to a show. So, also, I think it's important to touch on, and we will, like social media. And for those of you who have a following, maybe you're getting some negativity in those comment sections about your new physique. Maybe they're saying, you looked better before. Maybe something like that. So we're going to talk about all these different things today.
Yeah, and how to deal with them and how to cope with them and, you doing you. Mm-hmm. So I guess let's go ahead and dive into the first one. And I love our dynamic because we have so much experience on two totally different ends of the spectrum, and it's so cool. And with Ashley, she's like my sister. So I hate when I see comments like that. It makes me so mad. It actually makes me mad. I don't ever get mad, but when I see someone say something like "eat a burger" or "I liked you better when you were the other way," and it's always, no matter what, it's always someone the other way. So she can be soft and someone like, "Oh, you're really let yourself go," or she could be hard and it's like, "Oh, you're way too skinny," and it's like, dude, there's no winning with it. How do you what are some of the scenarios that you've been through? How do you deal with it? And
so on social media, it's a funny thing because social media gives people balls, for real. I always say this, if it's not something that you would walk up to and say to me in person, don't say it in the comment section. Because I promise you, no one in my entire life, no random stranger has ever walked up to me and said, you need to eat a burger. Really. I mean, no one has that kind of balls. Yeah. Okay? No one.
Or just bad manners.
For real. I would love to see that happen.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, it's kind of like I truly do believe that people that go out of their way to spread negativity are unhappy or insecure with themselves. Because have you ever met somebody that was happy and confident that just went out of their way to post something on somebody's, picture, "You are way too skinny, please gain weight," or something? Have you ever experienced that? I've never.
I think the confident people are always the most supportive.
Yes. Or even if you're happy with yourself and you're confident with yourself, you just, sometimes I look at somebody's picture and I think okay, yeah, maybe they don't look the best, but I would never go out of my way to express that to them. So you gotta kind of keep that in mind. Who are you dealing with? And why are they going out of their way to spread negativity? And I think that goes beyond just your physique too. They could be saying anything that's bad.
Yeah.
And you got to realize those people get some sort of joy or gratification out of like putting other people down. And although they will never admit that to you.
Yeah.
You got to think of that mindset. Like, of course, that is why they're doing it at the end of the day. It kind of makes them feel slightly better because they're putting that out there. And just be aware of that.
Yeah, I think that when people see, it's a weird thing, and you see it in like success too, like, and you getting the physique of your dreams and you getting leaner, that is success. It's success in different ways, and people will see you do something that they want to do, but they aren't taking the right actions to do that, and that like jealousy and that internal like alert to them that, hey, this girl's like doing something great or this guy's doing something great and I'm not, it makes them jealous. And instead of them climbing that ladder, sometimes it's easier to just bring you down a notch to make them closer to the same level, to make you closer to the same level as them. And it's like a weird thing that gives them some satisfaction. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what, like, I'm not going to let them climb too high. I'm going to bring them down just a notch, and now I feel better about myself. And yes. I don't really ever understand that, because it's like, because most people that are climbing the ladder would put their hand down and say, hey, you know what, come up a step with me, mm-hmm. and I'll even show you how I did it,
Yeah.
And I just don't get that, mm-hmm. Of why society's kind of like that. But it's like not just prep, it's like success too. Mm-hmm. Like if you're doing better, like if people are like, oh well, it's because of this, or oh well, it's because of that, or if a guy is looking really good now and he all of a sudden he's got abs and he worked his ass off for 6 months, mm-hmm. You'll be like, someone will be like, oh, steroids, he's on steroids.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're trying to rationalize why they can't look like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, and it's like,
Lord.
you'll see a lot of even like guys that look good do that sometimes too, which is a little weird too. Like you'll have like a natural bodybuilder, and he'll look at someone who's like amazing, right? They'll look at like the world champion of like Mr. Olympia or something, like, oh, if I took steroids, I could look like that too. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Why don't you try?
Yeah, I mean, even bikini girls get that too. I see it all the time. Bikini girls get it, and I'm like, do you realize how small we are in person?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
But you know something? There is quite the double standard, I would say, because I was talking about this with you the other day. I think if somebody were to go and comment on somebody's photo like, you're too fat, right?
Yeah.
That would be very unacceptable. They would get attacked, right? But if they say you're too skinny, it's suddenly okay to say.
Yeah, why is that?
It's such a double standard. And I'm like, why would it, because I see that far less if somebody's overweight, to just go out and boldly say, you're too fat, rather than you're too skinny. Yeah,
and it's if anything, it's the opposite. Mm-hmm. If anything, it's like if someone's overweight, but they're, let's say they're, I don't know, in a bikini or something like that, and their pictures, people will be like even more supportive for them. But
mm-hmm.
Which is, I think is great, mm-hmm. if you're being supportive for someone until they're at the point of being like unhealthy. Then it's like, okay, like let's create a little bit of awareness that that it is unhealthy to be over 30 pounds overweight or
mm-hmm.
over 40 pounds overweight. But like it goes the opposite direction in our society. It's really weird. Like
mm-hmm.
it's like support people who are overweight, and commercials now and this and that, and like but so if you're too skinny, like set off
mm-hmm.
the alarm.
Right. And let's be honest, in reality, it's not really too skinny either. I would say most people that do compete are healthier than your average American. I think too, with competing, you're very aware of like vitamins and nutritious foods, so you're consuming a lot of these healthy foods as well. And there's a term for all this, putting the fit people down. It's called fit shaming. It's actually a thing now.
Really?
Yeah, fit shaming. If a girl's too muscular, I'll say, you're too muscular, which I've gotten before. In the same picture, I've gotten, you're too muscular, or you're too skinny. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, it counteracts each other, I think, but everyone's
opinions are just all over the place.
Yeah, it's like anytime they see a fit person, it's like fair game to express their opinion, and in reality, and like I said before, it all boils down to somebody's own insecurity.
Yeah, and so how do you deal with that when it comes about?
Well, Sometimes I'll just delete the comment most of the time, but sometimes I will question that person, but not like, I won't give back negativity. I'll be like something along the lines of, and why did you feel it was necessary to state this to me? Or, I'll kind of be a little sassy, but, still kind of giving my point. Or, did that feel better to put somebody else down? Please explain this logic. You know what I mean? Because when you put people on the spot like that, sometimes they'll actually delete the comment. I've actually had people apologize to me before.
Okay.
Like, yeah, you're right. This one I'll say sometimes too, like, it kind of seems to me like you need a nap. And then, like, I've legit had people, like, comment back, like, you know what, you're right, I was tired and cranky. But, there are controls on social media that you can put on there, too. So if there are keywords that you don't want to hear, which I've obviously put, like, every cuss word in there that's, like, negative, that anytime somebody comments that, it doesn't even let them comment it. It just, they think they comment it, but it never shows up.
I didn't even know
Comment
that.
controls, yeah.
Wait, you could like put
in keywords,
words?
yeah.
I didn't
should
know
do that, yeah.
Who knew? Wow, look at you. I always learn something from you on social
Yeah, definitely
media.
on Instagram, Facebook, I think YouTube as well. Mm-hmm.
Wow, okay. I didn't know that. Okay. I'm so excited to actually learn that.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. Okay, so one of the funny ones, I remember that we were on a Facebook Live and someone said something about you. It was either being too skinny or they liked you better when you were softer or whatever. And then you were like, oh, dang, bro, I didn't know that. You changed my life.
Oh, wow. Yes. Wow, thank you, random guy on the internet. Since you told me this, I'm going to change my ways completely and put on 20 pounds just for you. Thank you so much for changing my life.
Yeah, that's so funny when you do that.
Or I'll get this too. It'll be like, way too muscular for me. And it'll be some extremely unattractive guy, overweight or something. And I'll just say, oh, darn, you're saying I'm not the girl of your dreams? I'm so devastated. Darn it. We could have been something special. Oh.
Now, when it comes to, like, and then with social media, honestly, and I'll get negativity too. Mm-hmm. I actually don't even mind. I kind of like laugh it off at this point because I've gone through so many, like, if you're in the fitness game for like a long period of time, like you're gonna go through so much ups and downs and negativity and this and that, and like it's just gonna happen. It's just inevitable. There's too much emotions in the sport.
Yes.
There's too many like new people in the sport who don't really understand, and like young people in the sport who don't really understand like being professional. It's just gonna happen.
Yes.
Like there's just no way around it. Like people are gonna, like I'll have, like my retention on clients is like really, really high. Like over 90% of my people stay with me, which is really good. That's great, but you'll still have people that leave you. Like no matter how good you are, you're gonna have 5% of your people leave you, and those 5%, like for some reason where there's like the weirdest reasons people will leave, but it could be like they dated a guy on the team and then they can't be on the team anymore because he's still on it, or their friend was with someone else, or they got a deal from someone or a sponsorship or whatever, and then they'll say negative things. But like just as a coach or as an athlete, it's never negatively affected me. It's just really funny because people freak out. They're like, oh my gosh, this guy's saying this or whatever. It's gonna ruin me on social media, or it's gonna whatever on ruin my training business or whatever like that. And I'm like, dude, if anything, like light is light. Like it's people, they're still making people more aware of you. And then as the months go on and people forget about however they learned about you, they start seeing what you're actually doing, and then they'll form their own opinions about you. So like don't let it stress you out, because it really doesn't. Like look,
exactly. You do you, boo.
Yeah, you do you.
You look good. Come on.
Probably the best example of that was Rich Piana. I mean, I don't know a guy who ever was more loved or more hated at the same time than Rich Piana. You either loved that guy to death and would like get in front of a train for him, or you would like just hate him for it, like because he wasn't the scientist, he was definitely like more along the lines of like the hardcore almost meathead type bodybuilder science kind of guy, and non-science bodybuilder science guy, and
Bro
science guy. There you go. And like he would just say whatever he thought, like he would say things, and people would like light him up because it had no like scientific backing. But he's like, but you can't argue with my results, look at, and it's the truth. You couldn't, there's something to it. And so like he would had so many people love him and hate him, but everyone followed him either way. And so it's like however you get your audience, you get your audience, so, and he did really well with it, with the love and the hate. So
as a trainer question, do you get more of like people trying to call you out for things like, oh, this exercise, you're supposed to be putting your head down instead of putting up or something? Because I'll get it every once in a while too, like that I'm incorrectly doing an exercise like slightly, and it's like, oh, you're being way too picky. I call it like the Instagram form police.
Oh, yeah.
Form police.
There's a whole like cult of that.
Yeah,
right?
like they want to, because I'm sure you get it more than me because you are the professional trainer. Yeah. So I'm sure like people like to try to nitpick every little thing, or if you pronounce something wrong or whatever it may be.
Oh yeah, and when they do, like honestly, like if they're right, I'll just tell them, oh yeah, you're right. I don't even care, like because I'm not gonna be, like there's always gonna be someone who's smarter than you. I'm research, but there's always gonna be someone who's researching that topic a little more thoroughly or whatever. Or maybe they're the ones who actually did the research, whatever. And nowadays everything's so out there, and people listen now to me more than they did 10 years ago. So it's like I gotta be more careful at what I say and the things that I do. But I'll always get it. I mean, even on like I got one the other day, like after one of our like our waist. Like one of our waist things about wearing like belts, and some like exercise science guy who's like in college was like sending it to different trainers and was like, he goes so Adam thinks that if you wear a belt and you're pushing out, like it's gonna make your waist wider, and doing these things is gonna make your waist wider. And so so he like sent it to his scientific community, right? And so I write him back, I'm like, hey, here's a simple example. I'm like, one, all of you science guys have never prepped anyone who's done anything in the sport. So if you're so good at this, why are you not at that level?
Right.
But you're not. You're sitting behind your keyboards doing research and maybe preparing guys to win 4th place at a local show. That's the extent of your career.
Yeah,
right?
they get some satisfaction out of trying to challenge you so they can try to one up you.
I'm like, name a scientist that's at the top level. Like name one prep scientist at the top level. I'm like, there isn't any, because they're both. Every guy who's at the top, they do both kind of meathead science, they do a little bro science, they do real science, they do everything that works. And some things aren't research, But I told them, I was like, hey, look, anytime you use a muscle more than you used a muscle before, that muscle is going to grow a little.
Of course.
It's very simple. Like you're an exercise science. So yeah, if you're using a weight belt and you're pushing really hard and blowing your waist out and you do it over and over again, that muscle's going to build a little bit.
Of course, and they're going to send you some Wikipedia article or something like, well, this article says...
right. And
I'm like, oh, Lord. Sometimes it's like not even worth the energy. It's just like,
I explained it to him as like a blacksmith using his arm over and over again to pound something, and that arm was always bigger. And like, I explained it to him, like, anything used in excess. He goes, and then actually he was pretty cool because he goes, yeah, I guess I could see how that would work. I'm like, no, it's not that you can see that work. That's how it works.
Yes.
But you're just gonna get that hate stuff all the time, and then, or if you do,
haters gonna hate.
Yeah, and especially my style prep too, because I'm more of a risk taker with bringing in different types of like looks, and I like that athletic bikini look too. Yeah. So it's like, some people love it, some people hate it, and so, but I'm like, whatever. I don't even care. I don't care. I'm doing what I like to do.
Exactly, so, and I think it's better to, I guess, bring in more athletic than the opposite way, because shows that you know what you're doing. You know how to get people lean. You know how to get people toned. So
it's I mean it's the 90% of people of bikini competitors are in that category now. So that's just how it goes. So, but yeah, no, I get hate. Especially earlier in my career too, and when like social media wasn't, because when I first started there was no social media. There wasn't anything, and as we started doing social media, especially early on, we didn't know what to say. We would just like post random stuff, and I was one of the first guys that was like posting my diets and posting like all these different like preps and stuff, and then people would just light them up, like try to light them up. Oh, you can't do this because of this or this, and I went through like 2 years of like really, especially when I came to Colorado, because I was the new guy and I was gaining traction, and all these trainers were like like been here for years and we're kind of like family. And there was like, who's this new guy like disrupting our normal,
giving all this free information while we're charging for it. How dare he?
And I got a lot of that was like a really hard time. It was like a year plus where people were like other trainers were like, they're just talking smack. Really, there was no like. It was just talking smack.
Gosh.
And I was talking about calories and this and that, and then all of a sudden their posts would like make fun of me because they talk about calories, and then all the trainers would like laugh at it. And I was like, well, like you guys keep doing that, I'm gonna keep doing me. And then a few years later, now they see where I'm at, and now they're all talking about calories.
Right?
And
You were ahead of the game, man. You were the innovator.
Yes. So sometimes it's you just gotta like stay on your course. No matter how hard that course is, but I'll never be bullied. I don't care. Like, so like because they were like basically bullying me to shut up. They were like saying basically just like trying to keep my traction from growing,
right,
and having me shut up and not say the things I was saying. And I just said it more. I said, okay, because it would happen was like originally some guy was like, oh, you're saying that I was like a bad prep coach, and then said that I was like hurting metabolisms and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, I was like, I'm gonna post every diet I do for a prep for the next year. But like the next year, you're going to see every diet I do, and not a single person is going to be doing more than 40 minutes of cardio, and a single person is not going to be eating less than 1,200 calories, and I'll still win. Yeah. And I said that out loud, and then everyone started like watching it and seeing what I did, and then like, and all the trainers like, were getting so mad, and I was like, they're trying to shut me up because now their clients were like, well, why is Adam's clients eating like over like 1,500 or eating 1,500 calories and then doing only 40 minutes of cardio, but I'm eating 900 and doing 2 hours of cardio? But they're winning. Like how's that happening? And then like it started giving them a lot of like almost more pressure. So staying your course like really does, if you believe in it and staying your course, like no matter how much you get, I think it really does pay off. That was a really hard time for me though to like.
But look at you now. Look at you now. I would hate to get into a face-to-face like dispute with you. I feel like I would just be like, all right, never mind. I'm just gonna walk away. Yeah, you're right.
I try to be super nice too, but it was just like,
no, you're professional. That's the thing. All these facts scare people. I think it's like you out science them and use some big words, and they're like, oh, all right, fine.
So when it comes to like the social media bashing, I think that's a little bit easier one to get away from because you can erase comments. I mean, it's hard on you at first, but as soon as you like realize, hey, it's not really going to affect me negatively in terms of my social media following, my business, my whatever, even though it might feel like it will, I honestly, from years of experience, I would say it's not going to. You could see all like the really bad blow-ups, like the really bad blow-ups on social media where like someone was famous or kind of thing, and then someone like really blew them up. Like that's the very rare occasion where that maybe it could, but even then they usually bounce back, a few months later. You could look at like the whole, like you could look at like the Devin physique thing that happened. He's doing just great now, and that was like, and I think he's a good guy. I don't think that was like his photoshopping pictures and whatever that he was doing was like really, like I honestly don't think he thought it was bad. Like I don't think he was doing it on purpose to like be deceitful. I think it was just what people at that time, like everyone was kind of doing it, and he was just like doing it more than everyone else, type of thing. And he's doing just fine. He's got his own clothing line or whatever, and he's doing great. So like don't let it like overwhelm you, like, oh my gosh, my world is over. Like, if anything, people are going to talk about you, then they're going to follow you because they're like, oh, I want to see what this guy's doing because everyone's talking about this guy, and then like 3 months later forget why they started following you in the first place. And then they're going to get to know you through your social media and be like, oh, this guy's kind of cool actually. So.
And if you're on the receiving end of negativity, just always remember, and you can go to like these beautiful celebrities Instagram pages like Ariana Grande, Megan Fox or something, and you'll find comments that are like, you are so ugly, and I'm like, are you kidding me? They are beautiful. And you look at their picture and you're like, are you saying you're the beautiful one and this person's ugly? The only thing that's ugly is your personality. Come on. So just always keep that in mind. Everyone gets way more bold and just kind of goes off and spreads their negativity.
They're trolls, the keyboard warriors. A lot of times they're like fake accounts that they won't even say it in their first. They're like their real account too, just to be mean, just to like have like a secret and a guard up. And I think that's so weak.
Yes, and if you don't got anything nice to say, don't say it at all. I'm sure your mom taught you that, but in case you forgot,
because
here's your reminder.
Because some people aren't as like I guess seasoned as Ashley and I, and can't deal with it as well. Like they'll actually think that. You don't know who you're talking to when you say those things. You don't know if, like, especially if someone's like a little soft, like you don't know if maybe their whole life that they've had like body confidence issues, and it's like the first time they've worn like a crop top, and maybe they lost 40 pounds to be able to wear a crop top, and then you go and call them fat. Like, you don't know where they're at in their life or what they're going through and how bad you made their day after your comment. Like, it's just unnecessary, and you don't get any benefit from it. So I just don't get it. But what about, I think, which is another important one, what about the unsupportive boyfriend or family member or girlfriend or whatever?
So I think as far as the difference between like the significant other and the family shows more, I guess, concern just because maybe they don't know better. My family was like that too a little bit at first, like, oh, Ashley, you need to eat. Like, because I'm used, back in the day, would have dinner with them, unhealthy kind of eating habits. And when that changes, they kind of are, I guess, alarmed or concerned a little bit. And they're wondering, why isn't she eating, or why is her body changing? And, that's kind of like a parent instinct a little bit, especially for those parents that aren't really familiar with health and is in that realm. They're just maybe old-fashioned parents.
Yeah, and I think that one's an easier conversation, like the parents one, because the parents, the parents are always like
it's
supportive.
Coming from a good place.
Yeah, the parents are always supportive in the way, in that way, where they're just like worried about your health, or worried about your mindset, or is she developing an eating disorder, or is she anorexic now, or whatever, that type of thing. And that's where they go with it, because they just have you've never done this before, you've never done it in front of them at least. And so I think the important thing with that is a simple conversation, like with them saying, hey mom, like I'm doing this contest prep diet, but it's only temporarily this aggressive. But on top of that, we're not diving into anything unhealthy. If anything, I'm healthier now. Like, look at the supplements I'm taking. It's vitamins and minerals and fish oils and all these things that are healthy for me. And my foods are just cleaner than they have been before and a little bit lower in calories. At least that's how the prep diet should be. It shouldn't be like crazy where it's unhealthy. It should always be, a controlled, not too aggressive, just small cutting of the calories with healthy foods. So if anything, it's healthier for you. If anything, it's going to make you, healthier on the inside if you're doing it the right way. So and you explain that to them in that way, and then they'll be like, oh, okay, well, and they'll still be like, just don't get too skinny, because they don't know the difference of lean and skinny. But that's an easier one to do, and they'll usually be supportive of it, and just explain to them the whole journey. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a show. I'm going to get pretty lean, probably leaner than you've ever seen me. And then after the show, I'm going to increase my calories up to maintenance calories, and I'm going to be eating good amount of food, but I'm still going to stay pretty lean because I like the way it makes me feel, it makes me look. And this is what I want to do with my life, my career, just this time, or whatever your goal is. And then they'll be like, okay, and they usually be supportive,
Yes.
My mom was like, she had no, we grew up we're from like an immigrant family, so food is it's like a cultural thing where it's just like, like that Hispanic, like always feed your kids, always feed. It's really weird. It's like always feed the men first. It's a weird thing, and then like they just feed you like excessively. And so like even my mom, who's like first generation American, like got it. It took her, and that was when I was like 12 years old, and she's just like, well, he wants to do this bodybuilding thing. So I'd come home and there'd always be like cooked chicken breast, like just a whole bunch ready for me. She had no idea what I was gonna eat, but she knew I always eat chicken. So it's always chicken, and then there'd be some carbs somewhere, So, but everyone will learn and adapt to what it is. But the one I think is the hard one. I think is we got to get to is the boyfriend.
Oh, the boyfriend
girlfriend.
and the girlfriend kind of thing, and then also friends can be a little.
Yeah, true.
We'll get to the friends after that, but I think the most times you'll see most conflicts happen within. Boyfriend, girlfriend relationship, or husband and wife. And I think the biggest reason is the time, like the time spent with them maybe decreases, or you're not able to go out for drinks on Saturday night. You can't go out to eat and have this buffet of unhealthy foods. Maybe some of your traditions as boyfriend and girlfriend is going to change a little bit because you can't do the stuff you might have been doing before, or maybe not as often.
Yeah. And I think there's two parts of this. I think that there's two people that are responsible in this one. I think that the athlete, if you're, I don't want to. There's no such thing as like too serious about this. But if you're not being like realistic with doing this in a way where it doesn't affect your life too much, then I think that some of that is the athlete's fault too. Like if you're a girl who's prepping, like let's give you an example. So even me and Ashley have been out to eat while she's like getting ready for the Olympia. Like we've gone to like the steakhouses and we've gone to whatever. There's always a way to make it work.
Yes.
You know, I mean, you got to order kind of funky. You know, no seasoning, no butters, because you just don't know what's in the food. Like no whatever, and then steamed this and steamed that. You know, like and they'll do it. You know, it's no problem. You can make it work. So if you're the type that's like, no, it has to be at a Tupperware, and no, it can't do this, and no, it can't do that. Well, some of their frustration over the last, if it's like a 4-month period where you're that crazy about it, like some of that is your fault because you're changing your boyfriend's and yours relationship so drastically. Like give him a day a month where you go out, and even if let's say you are one of those people who just can't do it another way, like you're just that A-type personality, and when you're in prep you have to eat at a Tupperware and you have to have everything perfect. Like there's a lot of places you could go to that'll just allow you to eat out of Tupperware. You know, it's like, and it's usually not a big deal. You just say, hey, I'm on a special diet. Yeah. And honestly, it's probably a bad thing, but sometimes people even say I'm on a special diet because I have a medical condition, but I want to go to dinner with him or something.
Oh, and then, sometimes it works. Remember that one time that I didn't get a Diet Coke and it was supposed to be a Diet Coke? Yeah. You got to check because I can't tell the difference. You were like, this is definitely real Coke, and it was like a huge one. I'm like, well, good thing you taste tested it, because if you didn't, I would have been drinking like probably like 300 calories of straight sugar.
It's crazy. We lined up really well on that. Mine was 280 calories, 70 carbs, and yours was 300.
Oh, wow. You know what? We should have a challenge one day where we look at a food or something and then actually see what the calories are after. Yeah, that'd be pretty
funny. So one, give them a little slack on that. You can even order, like, if you even want to bring your own protein and just order a salad. Like,
yeah, that's a good idea.
You could just throw your protein on the salad. And then, the lettuce is not going to be, you should be able to have, like, for the most part, like all my athletes, I don't care how much lettuce and stuff they have to some degree, like they can have a bowl of lettuce. It's not going to affect things pretty negatively, and then, you could do a vinegar on that, and there's no calories in it.
Exactly. I used to bring even my own little salad dressings. Walden Farms makes individual packets of cool salad dressing. Yeah. So I used to bring those sometimes, or you can do lemon juice and stevia can make a good little alternative for a dressing, or soy sauce too, and stevia, vinegar as you mentioned, and
I'll do salsa sometimes.
That's a good one. Yeah. So I think it's pretty safe to say that, like, there's alternatives you can do. I guess it'd be hard to don't be one of those people that's like, you're in the movie theater, but you're those people that time their meals to the minute. Oh my gosh, we're in the middle of a movie, but I have to eat right now, so give me like half an hour. Let me step out and eat this out of a container. I think that's a little overboard.
There's science behind that backs that up too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't cut you off. Go ahead. Yeah, so just so you guys know, and I let, like, on all my preps, I let people, when they fill out, like, they get signed up and started, I let them fill out the questionnaire of how many meals they want. And some people eat like 3 meals all the way through prep. And there actually is science. They did 2 different studies. One was, the first study was 3, 6, and 14 meals a day. 3 different groups. All of them were at the same caloric deficit, which I think, I don't remember off the top of my head, I think it was 30% caloric deficit. So they basically test their metabolism, give them a 30% caloric deficit, and then give them the same deficit for 3 meals a day, 6 meals a day, or 14 meals a day. And so same total calorie deficit throughout the day. And in the study, you would everyone thought, the people who eat 14 times a day, because it was obviously no one will really do that. It was just for the study. Like, they would get the best results. But what happened was they saw that people who ate 6 times a day got just very, very, very slightly better results than the 14, and the people who ate 3 times a day got very, very, very slightly better than the 6 and 14. And so they're like, oh wow, it's pretty much the same. And it was nominal difference. It was like, it's pretty much the same, but it's weird that lower you eat was better. And then they did it again with 2, 4, and 6 meals a day, and they tested it, and and then the same thing happened. The same exact thing happened. The people who ate 2 got just very, very slightly better results, but it was so nominal that it really didn't matter. It's like almost worth like not saying that anyone got better results because it was such a nominal difference. So it really came down to like, you know what? It's just eat whenever you want. Like it doesn't matter. Like it really doesn't make a difference on when you eat and whatnot. The only like variable to that is like the post workout is still kind of undetermined if that is somewhat beneficial or not. You know, there's like arguments on both sides of it. But what I do for the time being is pick how many meals you want, and we still do post workout because if anything, it's not hurting them to have that. You know, so it's like why not just have that just in case it is beneficial, even if it's 5% better for them to have it at that time. You know, for the time being until it like gets disproven, if it ever gets disproven. So anyway, so just so you guys have that information, because that was helpful for me to explain that to. I was dating a girl and she was like really, really crazy about that stuff, like with her meal frequency.
Did she like set alarms on her phone? Like, oh my gosh, time for my third meal. I'm sorry. I got to stop whatever I'm doing. Yeah,
she'd get like anxious, like if we were driving too long or whatever. And I was like, why are you freaking out, you know? And so I actually had to explain it to her and like show her the study. And I was like, hey, look, like this, just so you know, like when you have these freakouts, like they're completely unnecessary.
Probably causing you more stress and cortisol, which is hanging on to that fat.
Yeah, exactly. If anything, it's making it worse.
Yes, so chill.
Yeah, just chill. Okay. You can mix 2 meals.
I do that all the time. Yeah. Sometimes I'll eat. You know what? Sometimes I eat 6 just because. You know, I kind of like to keep my taste buds entertained. But you know, if it's a busy day, might be 4, and then some's combined. And there is, like you said, is no real reason not to do that. There's no reason,
not to. Like, there's some people who just like it. Like, I train Amanda Larson. She's a pro bikini competitor. She likes to be on a regimented schedule. So, like, her menu plan's like one of the only menu plans that I actually have, like, times on there. It's like, you wake up at 7, okay, you eat, and it's all time. But she just likes it. That's what she likes. She knows it doesn't matter. And then there's people who I have actually put 6 meals on it, and then they kind of do whatever they want with it throughout the day based on their schedule. Like hey, sometimes
I'm gonna doubles.
Exactly. And so for them, I just keep it even because they do doubles. Like they might do 3 doubles, or exactly like you said. Yeah. So it's whatever. Don't take your responsibility of it. Understand that the other part of it too is like I do understand on the like boyfriend girlfriend side. Is if you are spending a crazy amount of time in the gym unnecessarily, if you are actually doing an hour in the morning of cardio and you do it fasted or whatever, and then you do you go to after work, you go to and you do the gym for an hour, and then you do another hour of cardio after that. Like if you have a normal home life, I could see how that could be disruptive. You're not there when he wakes up or she wakes up. You're not there when he gets back from work. You're gone for another couple hours on top of that. You get home, you're so tired, you don't even want to talk to them.
Yes.
Like, I do get...
crankiness, too.
Yeah, I do get their side of it on that. And honestly, like, there's a lot of, like... There's top prep coaches in the world, and most of them are not doing that these days, where they're having people do that much stuff. Yeah. One of the coaches who I have a ton of respect for is Damien. He's, like, one of the better guys out there, like, in the world. And he did an Instagram video, and he was like, he's like, what are you doing in your off season where you would need 2 hours of prep to get ready for a show? Why is this happening? Why are people doing this? And that's the same line of thought I'm on. Is like, it really shouldn't be. Prep really should just. You got to remember what it is. Okay, prep is taking people who are already very fit and getting them to lose a little bit more body fat than they have right now. So it doesn't require all these extremes if you're already pretty fit. Like if you only have, 10 pounds to lose for prep, then it shouldn't take 2 hours of cardio, no carbs, 1,000 calories, like all these extra supplements. Like it shouldn't be all that,
And if you're just getting into it, so let's say you're not already fit, if you're just getting into it, you shouldn't be moving at that kind of pace anyway. Slow and steady wins the race. It's kind of like they always say don't crash diet. Well, the same thing I guess goes to training. Don't go from this is like my first time in a gym to doing 2 hours of cardio a day just so you can get contest ready, because you probably don't even have that muscle to begin with that you need. So it's kind of like it's definitely a process, and if this is your first time, you got to like ease into it a little bit.
Yeah, and it's, especially if you're you were trying to maintain muscle, like one of the fastest ways of losing muscle is doing a lot of cardio.
Oh yeah.
So we actually did that for Ashley on purpose to get her to lose muscle.
It wasn't 2 hours.
Yeah. We were just
like 45 minutes.
Yeah, we were like, just run for 45 minutes a day and let's get your legs down a little bit. Like that was like a purposeful reason. Yeah. And that's, if you look at her pictures at the Arnold and you look at her pictures at the Olympia this year, you'll see, actually you do lose muscle if you run too much. So, and that was purposeful. But so that's your part in it, and that's, I think, for everyone listening to this, even though this is off topic, that's something that you guys, when you're looking for a coach or whatever, when you're getting ready to do a show, ask that question: how much time in the gym am I going to need with your prep style? Mm-hmm. Because if you're changing someone's life that much, especially if you have an established relationship and it's not just you at home alone. Like, if it's just you at home alone and you want to go to the gym 3 hours a day, whatever, do it. I don't think it's the best way, but it's not like affecting your life so much where it's like your boyfriend doesn't even see you anymore, your husband doesn't see you anymore, your kids don't see you anymore. That's when it becomes like you should have thought this out a little bit better. Like you should have, because people depend on you at home. And
when people with kids especially, that's like it's a whole nother job. Sometimes I wonder how people do that.
And that's just the research, their fault for not researching the right way, But now you have the boyfriend who you are doing everything the right way, and you're
giving him the time, the attention, the love, everything. But maybe he's a little jealous because he might be getting a little more attention from guys.
So what happens then?
So luckily, I've never really been in this situation because I've only dated guys that were like familiar with the sport at least, you know. But I see it a lot, and I think most of the time that comes from like a more conservative background as well, where it's like, oh, you're showing more skin or something like that, and I think that's like a difference definitely in like where you're brought up or how you're brought up too. But maybe you're wearing some tighter clothes, you're looking a lot better, crop tops like you mentioned, and guys are just like maybe staring at you a little more and like noticing you, and the boyfriend might not be liking that so much because then he's like, oh, I don't want her to forget about me, or just kind of like that overprotective kind of boyfriend as well, that's like, this is my girl, don't look at her like that, don't be wearing this kind of clothes. And let's be honest, on stage you're wearing a very small bikini, so it's kind of difficult, I think, for the boyfriends that aren't familiar with the sport or haven't experienced it before. What is that all about? Like, you're not necessarily wearing this bikini for attention, you're wearing this bikini to show off your physique. And of course, when you're wearing smaller clothes, crop tops, tighter clothes, it's because you're proud of the physique that you constructed. And I am like that too. I'll wear smaller clothes when I'm more in shape too, because I'm able to, and I want to show off my hard work. And there's no shame in that, really. There is no shame. So if you're a girl experiencing this, you shouldn't feel like you always have to be wearing like a snowsuit just because you're more in shape. I say, if you got it, flaunt it. And hopefully your boyfriend can be a little more understanding that, you worked hard for that physique. So you deserve to, wear the clothes that you want to wear.
Yeah, I think one of the things I think that I liked about you said once, because it was like in one of your posts, and like there was like guys looking at you like in the video and stuff, like when you were walking by or whatever, and you were like, you're like, whatever, it's just a butt. If you want to look at my butt, go ahead. Like, it was like, whatever. And
my butt's all over the internet. Go ahead.
Like, whatever, it's just a butt. And then the reality is like as a guy especially too, when guys are like looking at your girl, it's like, I'm like, go ahead, like she's my girl, like,
it's like a compliment.
Yeah, she's coming home with me, like don't be too much about it and take pictures or something, but like but like whatever, go ahead and look, she's coming home with me, she's my girl. So if anything, it makes you like a little bit like prouder of her, right? So but if you push that too hard, you push your girl away too, and that's just something that you got to be aware of. Like let her celebrate this, if you're a guy listening to this, like let her celebrate her feeling great and wearing booty shorts and anything that she's wearing in the gym, around whatever, it's still far more covered than what you can see on one scroll on Instagram. Like, it's, so who cares? Like, everyone's seeing butts and boobs and whatever all day long anyway on I guarantee you she's more covered than what's on your Instagram feed itself, and she's not giving you any crap for your Instagram, the people you follow, right?
Yeah, so, and I think that, something, it's another double standard. I don't think girls complain about guys so much if they're walking around shirtless more.
Yeah.
But if a guy were to say, oh, your shorts are too short, it's kind of like definitely more negativity the girl would experience from her boyfriend than vice versa, just from what I've noticed.
Yeah, it's kind of like that weird double standard. Like, girls can be sluts, but guys can't. Like, that's like it's so, like a guy doing the same thing a girl's doing, where a guy's like out dating a bunch of girls. It's like whatever, he's just a guy and that's what he's doing. But a girl does that and it's like, oh, she's a slut.
Yeah.
Right? It's like she's allowed to date too. Like, it's the same thing. Like, she's allowed to find her mate however she chooses to find him. It's just so weird that there is that double standard on that too.
For sure.
But so as far as that conversation goes, like, what is that conversation like besides, because obviously it could be two things. It could be conversation, or it could be held up and then blown up into a fight.
Well, communication is key, and we all have things that we don't really like that our partners do, or a bad habit, and you got to talk through it. And hopefully there is some sort of understanding that it's like, I worked hard for this. Heck yeah, I'm going to wear shorts that are shorter. Heck yes, I am.
Yeah.
Like, I look good right now. Like, when I'm 80 years old and wrinkly and saggy, I'm going to say to myself, shoot, I should have wore even less because I look good, dang it. You know what I mean? Like, you're really going to have those, like, thoughts, like, you look good now, so why the heck not? Do it while you can.
Yeah. But you'll still be on the Olympia stage at 80 though.
Oh, I don't know.
I refuse to accept it.
Maybe if my tie-ins, if they're still around, my glue hamstring tie-in.
You're gonna be the Dexter Jackson of bikini. You're gonna be there until like you're 70.
Oh gosh.
I refuse to accept it. And now there was one more. Was there one more?
Friends of friends. Yes, yeah. I think the friends are quite similar to the scenario we explained with the boyfriend, girlfriend, the time. You're not spending as much time with them. Maybe they get a little like offended, like, oh, she's forgotten about us, or she's too good for us. She doesn't want to hang out with us anymore. But in reality, like all the reasons we mentioned, you just, I don't want to go out on a Saturday night with them drinking, and I'm just, drinking water. It's like, even my sleep schedule will change the closer I am in prep. Like, I'll go to bed earlier, wake up earlier, and I don't want to go out on a Saturday night with them and out till 2 a.m. I just don't. I don't want to see other drunk people while I'm just sober, and it's kind of boring for me. Some people don't mind it, but I'm just like, I'd just rather be chilling in bed,
Yeah, like for me, I've never drank in my whole life. Like, I've never drank. I've in my whole life I've drinking like twice to the point where I could feel it, and so for me growing up, like what I found was that my friends loved that I didn't drink, because I was always a designated driver, and it was like my friends would always want to go out, and the first question they'd be like, oh, is Adam coming? Because like they know they could go get drunk, and they had a designated driver, because there wasn't Ubers back then and stuff, so they were always excited if I went. So if anything, it could be, you could be that and be there and have fun with them maybe once a month or whatever, or as many times as you want, if you feel like you still want to go out but not drink. It's never weird, it's never weird to be like, no one makes fun of you for not drinking.
They don't make fun of you, but they will pressure you.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, I bought you, like they will literally, I've been in this scenario before, like literally like buy you a drink, and you're like, no, I don't want it, and then like, no, do it, like do it, and they just keep saying, do it, I already bought it for you, and I was like, sometimes it's not even worth the argument, but it's definitely a scenario that I've ran into, but yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes what's when people do that, because if ever when I was out, people would do that to me here and there, or like if I ordered an iced tea, like the bartender would kind of like give me a little jab, and they'd be like, "Oh, Long Island," like just to like mess with me, and then when I would usually like just give them a little jab back, and I'd be like, "No, I've been clean for 7 years, so I can't." And then they usually just shut up right away. And then my friends are like, is that why you don't drink? You've been clean for 7 years. I said, or you haven't been. I said, no, I've been clean for 7 years. I started showering 7 years.
Oh, that's a funny joke. Yeah. That's funny.
So it's always like, it always works out. And then people were giving you crap. They just stop, but it's, just tell them your scenario. I'm on a special diet. And then usually they just say I'm on a special diet. And then it usually turns into like a conversation in itself, that like ends up being like, sometimes it ends up being kind of cool. Like you'll say I'm on a special diet. I'm like, oh, why? And they'll usually think it's like a concern, like, oh, you're diabetic or whatever, or you have some issues that you can't have this. And then it'll turn into, oh, well, I'm doing a show. And then the next thing you know, you're talking diets with this guy, and you spend night talking shop, which is kind of fun. And you miit end up getting them motivated to do something.
Yeah,
like,
that is cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I can't tell you how many times that's happened. I mean, I can tell you 90% of the time no one actually sticks to the tips you give them. But sometimes it actually happens. So is that basically the scenarios?
I think that's all to cover for today. We've been talking a while, so
yeah.
Hopefully you guys got some good tips from this episode today.
Yeah, and also like just remember, like, we put so much pressure on ourselves in this already. Like if you're around people who are just putting more pressure on you and making it more negative for you, like just pick your friends of circle, your circle of friends better. That make sure they're more supportive. If you are at the gym and or if you have a team, like pick up a couple friends from there. Out here we have a really good team environment. All the girls like end up making a couple friends on it, and they kind of go their whole journey together.
Competitor friends are the best. They don't question it. They understand more, I think.
And if you're boyfriends or girlfriends of someone who is competing, like just try to put a little extra effort out there to be supportive for them. They really appreciate it. Do things that are fitness, like come up with fitness things that you guys can do together, and your girlfriend or boyfriend will like love you so much for that. Instead of like going to your usual dinner spot, like try to find a dinner spot that is totally prep friendly, and find an activity instead of something that you'd usually do, go out and drinking. Like find an activity that's fun. Like they're gonna love it. They're gonna love you for it. So little things. Remember, you're not in this. They say you have to do this for yourself. You don't have to do this by yourself. There's always going to be someone there to be helpful on Instagram or whatever. And like, just make sure that you pick your people the right way.
Yes, that's a good tip. Pick your people.
Yeah, pick your peoples.
Your people.
So with that,
I think that's all for today.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for listening. As always, follow Ashley at Ashley K Fit. I'm Team Elite Physique on Instagram, and shoot us any questions or suggestions that you have for future topics, so we can do this. And we're probably going to do like a Q&A one soon too.
Yeah,
so keep asking questions.
That was a suggestion of somebody's that I think is a really good idea. So we're going to have to do that one soon.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.